Hey YouTube, it's Sean, Griffin RC Planes. I've got my main wing section of my Avios King Twin 1700, and I'm installing pinned hinges in the control surfaces because I feel like the pinched hinge that it comes with is just weak in my opinion. And I think after several back and forths that it's gonna maybe come loose. And anyways, it's winter time, and part of the hobby is fiddling and modeling our model airplanes. So I've got four control surfaces on this main wing section. They're all flaps, two flaps on each side of the fuselage, and I've got putting two hinges in each control surface. I've got six are installed. I got two left to go. From you guys, I've read a lot of comments on different ideas and thoughts on how to put them in. So I think we're going to try something a little bit different, putting the last two in. So let me get my hobby knife and my epoxy together, and let's put two more hinges in. Sit tight. If you want to win a jet like this, all you have to do is subscribe. Click the like button and leave a comment. And then ring the bell so you don't miss my next video. At 1,000 subscribers, we gave this jet away. At 5,000, we're going to give another one. I don't know what it is yet. We'll see when that time comes. So hey, subscribe guys. Happy flying. Okay, before we get started here, for those of you that haven't seen me install these hinges yet, these are the hinges I found from Motion RC. They're free wing, and they've got a part number of N420. And I have been installing these directly down in my control surfaces like that. And let me show you how they work. This is the demonstration elevator half right here. You see how when see the shape here, and then you take this hinge and it just about follows the exact contour of your control surface. So that's how it's working. And we are installing them in just like that, gently carving out a little home for it. I'm having to do some little custom adjustments depending on your plane, your application. You may or may not have to. And then I'm inserting it in my control surface like so, and I'm positioning the physical hinge part of it directly in the center. You want half of this hump on this side and the other half on the other side. And then I'm mixing up a little two-part epoxy, and I'm getting it in both sides. So let's put the last two in my Avios King Twin 1700 right now. So here's my wing half, and we have 6 out of the 8 hinges done already. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. These 4 down here, I took a little bit of white paint and I just dabbed it on the top. Makes it look a little bit better. If you compare this half to the other one, not as noticeable. And you can see how we have them installed, and they're working really well. Let me flip this over. Get a shot of how they look on the back side here. By doing it this way, you're leaving the factory pinched hinge in place, except for the little area we cut to allow the actual hinge portion, come through, because the actual hinge, this pin, needs to be in the center of the control surface. Even amount on top as on bottom. So we are going to show you what tools we're using. Alright, the tools that I have to use are just some paper towels, rubbing alcohol, a couple of these throwaway brushes. This is to help get the two-part epoxy exactly where I want it to go. I've got a Dremel tool. You can obviously use sandpaper or a file or whatever you have. You might not need to do any adjustments. But on these control surfaces and just how I'm doing it, this can be done many ways. I'm taking my Dremel tool and I'm knocking down this corner right here plus this corner. So above my blade, I'm knocking off on the top here, and then above my blade right there, I'm knocking off also. And that just fits best for my application and how I'm doing it. Then I got two X-Acto knives. One of them, I put a little 90-degree bend in it. Then I got this little doodad right here. I think this is for crocheting. I'm not quite sure, but this helps to scoop out the foam where we're cutting our little slit. And then I got just a couple of pieces of paper there to mix up the epoxy, and then some two-part 5-minute zap epoxy, and then obviously our hinges made by Freewing. Motion RC is where you can get them. Part number N420. This says type A. There was A, B, C, and a D, I think, and they all had kind of just a little different shape. These were the ones I happened to get. Might try some other model numbers or model letters eventually. But so that I don't bore you with the Dremel, I'm gonna go knock off these corners, and I'll be right back. All right, did a little Dremeling. Here's our finished product. And now let me show you how I lay them on the wing, and then we'll do a little dissecting. So move the epoxy, move the towels, move the brushes, move the little index cards to mix on, move the popsicle stick. Get this guy in place. Let me see if this light makes a difference. Yeah, a little bit. All right. So the way it's going to go is like this. And I've been counting these little ribs here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll put one right here. And you want to put it with the angle so that when it hinges, nothing will be in a bind. And then center the physical hinge itself. Right? And then I've been pushing down rather hard to make a mark in the foam. You can see. And then I've been taking a knife and gently carving out some. The first thing I want to do is cut a hole right in the center for the physical hinge itself,
because like we talked about, the hinge pin needs to be in the middle. Half of it needs to be on this side of the wing and the other half needs to be on the other half. So that's the only part that's going to be poking through. And then kind of feeling on the bottom, and with my fingers I can feel how deep I need to go down. You want to cut the hole a little bit bigger than the hinge, obviously, because we need to get some epoxy in there. Up here I'm going deeper, and then as I'm getting closer to the center, not as deep, just because of the shape of the hinge. And then once I think I got just about what I want, I just kind of mess it up a little bit, and so that I can dig it out, kind of like carving a pumpkin, huh? Might need my light back on here. Alright, and then I'll see if we can dig this side out. Then once I dig out a little bit, I'm going to test fit the hinge. Kind of a dig as I go, I guess we can say. So we need to go quite a bit deeper. Alright, let's try it. Try it again here. Might need to do a little bit more dremeling. Because you can only go so far of digging before you come out the other side there. A little bit more on the to try the other hinge just because it might be sanded a little bit different. Alright, I don't want to dig any deeper inside the flap itself, so I'm going to take my Dremel and sand just a hair more. Alright, let's try that. Let's flip it around. This side is just about perfect. This side is a little high still. See how it's actually hinging right there now? Since they're sanded a little bit different, we'll try this guy. I need to sand that little corner right there, and then we're good to go. Alrighty. Just like that. And we'll glue 1/2 at a time because we want to make sure that the physical hinge portion is centered and then halfway up on this side and halfway up on our bottom side. But by gluing, 1/2 of it, then we have something to hold on to, to help work it, exactly how we want it. So let's mix up some glue and we'll do this one together real quick. All right, got a stir stick right here, courtesy of Mapco, and then we have just an index card to mix on, and we got a brush, and then some 5-minute epoxy. Need to mix it 50-50. It's hard to get this stuff exact. If you're going to get any more of one or the other, get hardener. This is the hardener. It's a little tough to see for you guys, but when you're mixing it, once it starts to get cloudy, it's mixed thoroughly. All right, so we're just gonna do, let's see, the wing portion. Dry fitting it one last time. This is 5-minute epoxy, so we don't have a whole lot of time to be goofing off. That's how it goes down in there. And I want to put enough in there that when I push the hinge down in there, it will goo and ooze through the holes in the hinge and harden through the holes. But I also don't want enough to ooze out and get on the physical hinge itself, so then it won't work back and forth. quiet, I'm thinking. Alright, so we know we've got plenty in there because it's pushing it back out. So that's a good sign. And then right there, the hinge is about, sticking out halfway. I like that. I'm going to brush a little more on top of it. It might still seep down in there and fill any, I guess you'd call them voids or something. I just kind of standing back and look at it and just make sure there's not any low spots. Yep, so I'm not going to glue the other side until this side is dry. So the hinge pin is lined up with the physical hinge, and then the physical roundness of the hinge is sticking halfway up on this side and halfway up on the other, or down on the other rather. Oop, get in there. It's wanting to tilt over on me a little bit. Maybe a little more epoxy will help keep it where it needs to be. Some of you guys will get it absolutely perfect. I like it. Alright, I'll be back in about 5 minutes or so when it's dry, and we'll glue the other piece. Meanwhile, I'm going to carve out the other side. Alright, I went ahead and put the other one in there. Let's mix up some epoxy and glue both sides of the flap side. And then this entire section will be done. That's the hardener half. Sounded like something was falling over there. A little more of the hardener. Got my stick. It's been well over 5 minutes, so it's hardened up on the section we've already done. That one got a little stiff on me. I want to make sure it's going to be okay. I might actually redo that one. We'll see. Let's see how this one goes. That other one acting tight and stiff. It obviously I got some on the the hinge itself. Went on and fell into place all by itself. This side's a little bit better. I got gravity working with me to keep the epoxy away from it. I can see that it's trying to push it back up, so making sure it's staying down in there. Then the epoxy is oozing and goozing and going through the holes in the hinge. So I'm gonna call that one good. Now this one, oop, I shouldn't have moved that. probably got to stick with the one at a time. Yeah, that one's going to be fine. But I tell you what, we're going to call it quits for this video. And I'll glue that one in after that dries. So, thank you guys. Back to the other me.
Okay, well that's all I got for this one. So, all right, so we'll move right on along to the. We got the elevator and the rudder to deal with next. Oh, and the wingtips. So we got plenty of work to do on this thing before we take it out for the maiden adventure. So, all right, guys. Hey, thank you. Subscribe if you haven't, and do this guy right here. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And that is the best way to support what I do. So, thank you guys, and until next time, you'll see me here, right here.